Hello, this is Brian. I'm back again to make a video that I think that has been on my mind for a little bit. Watching maybe some other YouTube people, just in general. I want to come to everybody today because I tend to make ownership of these tegus look really easy. I don't know. I wouldn't say maybe really easy because I have been nipped from a time to time, and I've had to build this larger enclosure and do a lot of modifying, and I just want to express that though I make it sound really cool and really easy to feed, and the tegus are wonderful, and they are really cool, and most of the time they are really wonderful, but it takes so much work. And I just want to come in. I don't have a ton of followers. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of followers. But it's not about having masses of people tuning in. I mean, that'd be nice, but it's more about my joy and my tegus and my love for photo and video and editing. And I got a mouse getting out of his place right now. I got to put him back in. Her, because if she gets on the floor, she will be eaten like that. Because I got a tegu outside of the enclosure and one in the enclosure. But I just want to come to you today and just tell you how much effort this takes to do properly, in my opinion. I kind of think about it like, go back to owning a dog. There are people that have their dogs inside with them. They're interacting with them all the time. They sleep in their beds like me. And I take my dog for walks. I do all kinds of different things for enrichment for my dog. I take the dog on the e-bike and run her where she gets exhausted, loves to run and play. And and then there's the owners that put them on a chain and put them in the backyard and maybe see them once a week. Hopefully they feed them and give them water. But I mean, it's just a cruel world. A lot of dogs are just, and the owners won't get rid of the dogs. If someone came and said, I want to give your dog a loving home, they'd say, nope, you're not taking my dog. That's my dog. Leave my dog alone. And the dog is not taken care of. I fall into the category, and I'm very interactive with my animals. And I want to spend a lot of time with them. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to keep them. If you just want to get it to look at every once in a while, or say you have one, I mean, that is a horrible, poor excuse to get an animal, a reptile, a bird, fish, or, you gotta spend time with them. And when I say fish, feed them and change their water and do a lot of things. Fish are a ton of maintenance, but these reptiles are a ton of maintenance and care. And let me just tell you, with the start of the shamdemic, pandemic, screwed up demic, whatever you want to call it, pandemic, my work and my field, my photography field, it just went from hero to zero in a matter of months. And so I've had a lot of time, and fortunately I've been very, very blessed. I'm a follower of Jesus, and I think that he takes very good care of me, and he provided for me very, very well, to where I've been able to go this amount of time and not have a lot of work. But what that did is, this not having a lot of work allowed me to watch YouTube and get back into reptiles, because when I was younger, I was really into reptiles. Then I got out of it more towards later high school, college. I just knew I didn't have the means, I didn't have the want or the urgency to get some reptiles, even though I had some chameleons, some really cool chameleons, the one would shoot the tongue out. I had a lot of time to take care of these, and I just want to reiterate, now my work looks like it's coming back, after 2 years, and I'm going to have to start traveling, and I can't really justify taking my animals and taking them to one of the pet stores and spending, $40, $50 a day, and they won't get the care that I give them. Also, too, I've grown up. I mean, we grew up with exotic birds, and we would go on vacations, and our birds, my parents' birds, you know, $2,000, $5,000 birds, would have to go and be cared for because they couldn't stay behind. They had to be uncovered and covered, and if they got cold, they would die. If they got a breeze of air while they were sleeping, they would die. And so I think two of the birds died in the care of the pet stores, and my parents were so distraught, and they think they got screwed. They think one of the birds, and one of the expensive birds, got taken and claimed that the bird died, and someone ended up going home with this bird, or they ended up selling it. So I don't want to put my tegus into that situation, but tegus and lizards and snakes can be independent. Snakes are going to be a lot more easier. My boa hangs out in that closet, and I could probably safely leave him for a week as long as I fed him and he's got water and the light comes on with the timer. That's good. He is self-proficient. Snakes, no problem. They wake up about 2 p.m. and from 2 p.m. until about 8 or 9 p.m. depending on if they get to sleep. I have mice trying to get out of their enclosure because I'm cleaning it over here. But one's walking up and flirting on the edge, dropping on the floor, and there's a tegu loose, and that tegu will go, pew, a guided missile, and hit that mouse so fast. So I got to put him, and the tegu's sitting right there watching him. Tegu's on the ground right there looking up, watching this mouse on a balancing line, basically, treading. But all day long, from that time, 3 p.m., I'm in here every 30 minutes. I'm in here every 30 minutes, taking one tegu out of here, because they get bored. It's like the dog, on a chain, on a 5-foot chain, or a 3-foot chain or something, or just a small backyard, and there's nothing for them to entertain. I put a lot of effort into this cage or this enclosure to make it interactive, and some logs and things and places to go, and tried to increase the depth of the dirt for digging, and I got lights galore. But they get bored in here. After an hour, they get hot, they get heated up, and they want out. These tegus know what out is and what in is, and they know they're smart enough to know. They know what another room is. They know that when I walk out that door, that's obviously something else that they want to go to. They'll go to that door, and both of them will scratch at that door. How do they know that's a door? And there's something else in the other room? I don't know. I mean, they just have a little bit of a level of intelligence. So I take them out of here and I put them on the floor, and I leave one in here, and then I switch them, and then they will get strung out in this room, and they will have enough of being in this enclosure, and they don't want any part of it. So then I've got to take them to another room that I have. The bigger one goes to the bigger room with all kinds of boxes and tools and things, and he can climb and get on everything. And he has to be stimulated, or they will go crazy, just like a dog on the chain scenario. They take so much time. So if you are a potential tegu, want to become an owner of a tegu, I mean, obviously 2 is more than 1, and it's twice as much effort. But 1 is you can't put them in a cage and then not visit them for 3 days, and that type of care, more of a snake care. They have to be cared for, in my opinion, every day. There may be some tegus that want nothing to do with humans, and you've got a big enough enclosure that you don't have to interact with them, but mine require me to take them in and out, hold them, put them on my shoulder, take them into the tub, let them crawl around in the tub, let them crawl outside of the tub, put them on a ledge, put them in here. I mean, take them to different rooms, like I've said. I mean, it's constant. So I want to just make that evident. I know the video is going to be too long. It's going to be very boring. Let me take Sassy out here. Sassy is going through, come here, Sassy. I got to be real careful with Sassy because she's going through her phase. I think her, sexual phase, where she is being defiant and being a lot more aggressive. I don't fear for her because I can control her and I can read her really well, but she is being really, really temperamental now, where Mac, at about 9 months, Mac was doing that. 8 or 9 months, Mac was acting real quirky and running after my feet like he's going to bite my toes. And they're just, their personalities go kind of haywire. You know, it's like crossing wires for a couple of months. They were not terrible, but they just start acting, they're moving a lot faster and acting different. But hopefully she'll settle down. But I can grab her, but when I put my hand or I come in here, she's like, boop, she's up at me. And when I put my hand, she makes movements towards my hand. And I don't want to get bit by her. She's like 2 feet, you know, 2.5 feet. And I mean, I just don't want to be bit by tegus. I don't. So you got to be real careful. Mac is sitting there on the ground. Sassy, don't be crazy. All right. Got to have the tegus out because that's what the video's about. But Sassy's real squirmy. Oh, and her nails are so long. She's hot right now. Oh, yeah, she's warm. She's fired up, ready to go. But Sassy is such a cool red tegu. She's female. And Sassy's really neat. Very... very opinionated, more of a wild tegu, but allows me to pick her up. But I'll just put her on the floor. Oh, and if she doesn't grab onto something, and then I will sometimes switch Mac back in here because he's got to get his heat back in his body. And Mac and Sassy are female male and male female. And I think they're sexually attracted to each other, so I don't want babies at the moment, and that they can get a little more aggressive with each other. I don't think at this point gonna kill each other, but I just want to separate them when Mac, because Mac is maybe almost twice as big, and Mac is pretty strong jaws. But let me pick Mac up. Mac just cruises around, and I got to be careful because. I've got the mice here in the room, and they are very attentive to the smell of mice or the movement of mice. But Mac is about 36, 37 inches long. Mac is really, really cool. Very easy to pick up, but you gotta read them because even though I'm comfortable with them, at any moment, they can do quirky things. Even Mac, that I trust like 99%. Just every now and then, his little wire in his head crosses another wire, and he decides my finger looks like a mouse. You just gotta, be really careful. Taking a bite from this guy would be, I don't even want to think it. I mean, like motorcycles, if you are a motorcycle rider, it's not if you're going to go down, it's when you're going to have a crash or go down. And the same thing I think is with reptiles. It's not that you're not going to be bit, or when or the same thing. It's like you're going to get bit if you own reptiles, but you just try to minimize that and minimize the harm that they can cause, because they're very specific little machines. but I'll put Matt back in here, and he'll get warm under his lights, and put him back in here. So it just takes hours and hours and hours all day long to care for. I hand feed them every day. I feed mice and rats about every 3 days. So you're going to have the expense of a couple of $100 in frozen mice or rats, depending on the size of your tegu. Let me show you those. I was raising mice, and it became where the mice started becoming my pets. I don't like to kill things. I'm not a hunter. I don't go out and kill animals. So it got difficult to feed the mice. So I've got pet mice, if you've seen in my other videos, and I have about 15 that I don't need and I don't really want, but I enjoy them too to a little bit degree. I put them on my shoulder, and they'll hang out on my shoulder for 30 minutes and won't try to jump off, the little bit bigger ones. And when I put my hand in there, they'll jump in my hand and go up my arm. And when I wake up in the morning and come in here, they're just right at the front of the cage, just wanting me to feed them. They know that, I'm a food source. And when I put my hand in there, they come and they smell my hand, they jump in my hand. I mean, how can you feed a little creature like that that's going to just be munched and just slaughtered by a tegu? But so I have mice, but frozen mice. This is what you're going to want to do with frozen. Tegus, you're going to want to get frozen mice and rats. I mean, lots of things you're going to have to do when you get tegus, or a lot of reptiles for that matter of fact. But you're going to have to buy bags of frozen mice or rats. 25 rats were in here, 50 smaller mice, and bigger rats. Freeze your chicken hearts and chicken livers because they'll go bad. You buy them and it's kind of a little bit of a bulk, so you're not just running every other day to the store, but you got to freeze all these things, and it makes it very easy. And then you got to prepare and you got to thaw them out because you can't feed them frozen or cold to your animals, reptiles. Don't ever do that because that will cause all kinds of headaches and potential digestive problems, and could kill your lizard or your snake. So don't ever. Make sure when you take them out of the warm water, or if you leave them out overnight, which I like to do, and then they're thawed by the morning, you want to squeeze them and make sure they're pliable and there's no frozen inner parts because you just don't want to do that. But that's the food, and then in between this, you can feed them your greens and your fruits. So it's constant, and vitamins that you've got to every day. I feed the mice every 3 or 4 days, and in between then I'll substitute fruits and bananas and strawberries and blueberries and things. And then every once in a while when I'm feeding my dogs, I'm taking open a fresh can, there's big chunks of meat in there, I'll take the meat and put them on my little poker and come in here and feed them. They love dog food, the wet dog food. Mac has even gotten to Marshall's food bowl with the round grain, the hard grain, and Mac has tried to eat without me knowing the hard dog food. Now he maybe ate one piece of dog food, but I was like, oh my gosh, and I grabbed him. But they'll eat a lot of different things. But other than that, let me pull out this mouse that keeps getting out. This is one of my sweet mice, and he'll get on my shoulder. They eat and poop, so you're going to get pooped on if you take your mice and play with them. But they're really cool, and you got to make their enclosure interactive too. Because they're in there and they get bored. You got to buy a little running wheel. You got to buy. I put bricks and logs in there and little tunnels, and they love to run and frolic on top of all that and give some exercise. So the mice they're just little pets, and they're sweet, and they seek human attention. They come and smell, and so that's why I got out of doing the live mice. But I got about 15 now because one of them got with another female when I had about 6, and she had babies, real young. She had babies, so she only had 5 or 6. So I have another 5 or 6 babies that I'm going to be caring for, because you can't let them go. They won't survive out, and I can't feed them, so they're mine. And if you sell them to somebody else, they're just going to use them for feeder food. So, and Sassy's down on the floor looking up at me like bullseyeing in on this rodent on my shoulder, and Mac is the same way. But other than that, video's long enough. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Hopefully this was helpful. Like it if you got anything out of this, and hopefully it'll be shared with more people. All right, bye-bye. Oh, mice. I got black eyes. They're so cool. They're little creatures. They're so wonderful. They let me rub them. They have little hands. Oh, hard to feed mice and rats. Or maybe rats. Rats might be easier, but little soft, fluffy mice. Bye-bye.